Thank you for having me. I am really, really grateful. And thank you to everyone who's made our time to be here. What you're hearing now, and I wish I heard it when I was a little bit, when I was younger. It's a privilege to be in your midst and hearing all of it. Thank you, Chisom. I was immensely blessed by what you shared, and I was taking my own notes too, and I'm going to put them into practice. I'll shoot my best shot going forward. So let me attempt to shoot my best shot here today. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm talking to us about you and the media. We live in a world where the media is all around us. We relate with the media, even on our mobile devices. We hear, we learn so much, we do so much on the media, with social media every day with our devices, our tablets and our phones at home, everywhere we go. And it's as though our lives are tied around the media and social media, to be specific. You see, there is no going forward without, it looks like there's no going forward without the social media. And so we want to stay there. But how much of it can help us as individuals and help us in nation building? Let's go to the next slide. Thank you very much. So the social media has fantastically blurred the lines of boundaries that divide us. We've been, yes, you get a copy of the slides, hopefully. Social media has blurred the lines of boundaries that divide us. It has changed communication and making it in such a way that you can communicate with anyone around the world. From one corner of the earth, you can communicate to somebody on the other part of the earth. Some of us here today have made friends and have met people that we may never have met if not for social media. We have made friends, we have communicated with people, we've done businesses, we've learned from other people outside of our shows, things that we could never have achieved if not for social media. I wish the slides would go on real quick so that we can get the slides out of the way and talk. So seeing that social media has blurred these lines, it's also made it possible for us to move beyond ourselves. It's turned the world into a small community. But you see this, it's a two-way street. While we're giving out, we're also getting a two-way communication, giving voice to all. But then, seeing that it's a two-way communication with no restraint everywhere, it requires responsibility. And many of us have watched Spider-Man, where his uncle was telling him, with much power comes much responsibility. So if you have this amount of freedom, you're able to say what you want, when you want to say it, how you want to say it, then you should understand that responsibility lies on you to do right, not just by you, but by also the person on the other side of that divide. If I'm going to be saying some things, I should also be thinking about how you would receive what I'm saying. Is it going to work for you? Is it something that you would want to hear? Would it help you in any way? Next slide. Okay, so let's look at the effects of social media. Next slide. If you even sit down right now to think about it, there are all manner of ways that social media has affected us. I talked about one at the beginning. The lines of divides around us, amongst us globally, have been blurred or completely removed by social media. It's given us a voice that is boundless. We speak on every platform. We speak on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Snapchat. We are having conversations per second with people we have never met. And some of them have been beneficial, but some have also been negative. Let's go on real quick. Social media has had a lot of effect on our lives as individuals and on the lives of everyone around us, on the things we do, on our things. Case in point, sometimes we think that everybody out there is living the life that you want to live. Oh, you're seeing that picture of your friend, or you're seeing that thing your friend is doing, and like, that's exactly what I want. But is it really what they want? The effects of social media have reached the psychological area, emotional, physical, and social parts of our lives. Social media has affected all of these things. It has linked to higher levels of loneliness, levels of envy, anxiety, depression, narcissism, and interaction. But guess what? Is it what it's meant to do? Is that what the plan of social media is meant to be? It was supposed to enhance our communication. It was supposed to enhance the way we relate with each other. It was supposed to enhance our being together. But it's instead drawn us apart. I've gone to one time my wife and I went out for lunch, and when we were sitting, we noticed that everybody was more or less on their phones. Even my wife and I, we were on our phone, and we made a commitment that day. You know what? Hey, when we are together, all phones shift. No social media. If we must attend to our phones, maybe a call is coming, and it must be that it is something vital we need to attend to. Otherwise, we must stay with ourselves. Okay, I'll slow down. I'm going too fast. I'm trying to beat time. I have 4 minutes left. Now, social media has created paradoxes. It's created a means of communication with the rest of the world, but yet it's also created some kind of isolation. Because we are so stuck on our devices, we are communicating, we are chatting. We've lost our sense of physical connection. We've lost our physical communication skills, so much so that you find yourself sometimes in the midst of people, but you don't know what to say. You rather chat. I've seen people who rather sitting with each other, they are sending text instead of talking to each other. That's not what the situation is meant to be. That wasn't the essence of social media. It was supposed to enhance all of these things, but it's made it worse. It's like a paradox. What's meant for good somehow brought about some evil. So we need to learn some responsibility to be able to manage all of this. I want us to go back to the last slide. I said in the last slide, we talked about the fact that social media has been linked to levels of depression. It's been linked to dissociation. It's been linked to loneliness. It's been linked to a decrease in our social capital. And that's not what it's meant to be. Let's move on real quick. The slides will be sent to you. Copies of the slides will be sent to you. Let's go on to the next slide and the next. But in all of these things, while social media is fantastic and is good, go on to the next slide. It's also created avenues for plenty of comments. Like when I feel we put out pictures and you feel like I'm good. You feel like that person, I'm good. The moment someone likes your pictures, someone likes your comments, someone likes your post, you feel it's created that feeling of elation. I have arrived. I am on top of my game. I am the champ. You're feeling like you're good at that because someone or a lot of people are liking the things you posted. Then suddenly you post another one and you realize that nobody liked it. I'll give you an example that happened here. So when the moderator said, tell us where you're sending your comments from, tell us how you feel, where you are, who you are, and what you're doing. Some people posted comments, posted their names and their locations, and their names were not mentioned. Mine was one of them. But guess what? There was that little tinge of, oh, come on, your name was not mentioned. Hello, I'm not the only person whose name wasn't mentioned. But guess what? Some other people's names were mentioned. I'm sure where they were sitting, they were feeling cool. That's how we feel many times when our comments or our posts are liked on social media. We feel like we have arrived. We feel like we're there. But when it is not there, you get that sense of depression. Nobody likes me. No, social media is not meant to make you feel that way. Social media is a tool, not a driver of your life. Sometimes it appears that everyone is living your dream life, is doing what you want to do. You want to be there with them. You want to be able to do that. But guess what? The pictures you see, the posts you see, many times are the highlights of the day, are just the good things, the sweet pictures. You will hardly see anybody post a picture of themselves when they are depressed. Hardly. You hardly see anybody post a picture of themselves when things are not working out. Hardly. Because they want people to feel like I am there, or they want to psych themselves up. Social media, the media is a tool, not a driver. But guess what? It's been shaping the way we think and the way we relate with each other, which is not supposed to be. In national building, in nation building, see what it's done. Social media and the media generally has dissolved the worlds of hatred and constructed and helps to construct a national identity in some places. So that, and the national identity is like the first step to nation building. When you're chatting with someone in Sokoto, you're in far away Enugu, or you're chatting with someone in Lagos, from Kano, you're not thinking about the divide. You're not thinking about, I am Christian or I am Muslim. No. When something happens, if we are watching a football game, Nigeria scores a goal, you'd send your friend in Sokoto a message from Enugu to say, hey, Amit, guess what? Nigeria just scored a goal. And Amit's telling you, yeah, because maybe he's busy and he could not watch the game. He's happy. Guess what? There's nothing like at that point now about religion or ethnicity at that point in time. That's what social media has helped us create. It's also created the barriers between leaders and followers for direct connection and creating an energy where there's communication between the two sides of the divide. But while this may be, what are the things that social media, specifically, some of the things that social media has been able to achieve? Public communication, crisis communication. Leaders are able to communicate to the public the things that are happening. I understand our slides are fast, but please listen. The slides will be sent to you. Just listen to the conversation. So crisis communication. Leaders or the government is able to communicate to the public information that would help. During this pandemic, for instance, information was shared about different things that were being on testing situations, what we need to do, wash your hands daily, wear a face mask, stay at home as much as possible, and even if you must go out, social distancing. All of these things were shared mostly via social media, and all of us have them on our devices, and we get them every day to remind us of what we need to do or where we need to go or how we need to go about it. That's one of the things that social media has done. The next thing that social media has been able to do is to help humanize governance. It has helped to humanize governance, to create a human face to the governing situation. Now, don't ask me if government is managing it well. Don't ask me if the leaders are managing it well. I'm telling you what social media has been able to do. Whether it's been handled well is a different kettle of fish altogether. But this thing has created opportunities for communication between leaders and the led and the followers. It's also created an opportunity for transparency, to humanize the brand or to humanize the leader. As a leader, if you're sharing information as a head boy who has a WhatsApp group that you're talking to your classmates or people in school with, or even talking to the teachers about what you're planning, guess what happens? You're able to share information and people can know your plans or where you're going to next. It's not too often that people remember that. They forget that there are actual people behind leadership. Sometimes the agencies, the policies of government, the rules are pouring out so much that people forget that, hey, there are human beings behind here. But social media has made it possible for us to relate. For instance, when this, oh boy, they say I'm too fast. Okay. For instance, sometimes government sends out a message and says, this is what's going to happen. The criticisms come in so quickly that sometimes government begins to react in a way that some of us are like, why are they reacting this way? The NSAS protest, one of the things that helped the NSAS protest, for instance, was social media. Social media helped the NSAS protest to go forward. Now, beyond that protest, and even when it was hijacked, there's been this conversation about fake videos out there. And sometimes I wonder, what made it fake? What makes those videos fake? What is it? There's something called timestamp on the videos that are posted on social media. And there's something called geolocating on the internet. So you can actually locate each video that was posted if you take out time to do your task. But beyond that, let's go back to your role now. We're talking about you and what you can do with social media. I've talked about the benefits of social media and some of the negative effects of social media. But let's look at what you can do with social media. Because you know what this is all about, you need to make concerted efforts to verify, to diversify your news sources. So if you hear that this is happening here, can it be confirmed? In Rotary Club, there's a four-way test, which it says, what you're hearing, is it good? Is it good for others? Is it something that can be held accountable to? The four-way test, all to check whether what you're hearing is true. But you see, You need to diversify and ensure that what you're hearing can be confirmed from at least one or two other sources. Permit me to borrow from the Bible, where it says, in the mouth of two or three witnesses, a case is established. But you see, the other side of this is, what if the two or three witnesses are getting the fake news? So you need to also get from an authentic source to verify the news you're hearing, that it is verifiable. Now, the other side of it is, you, as an individual, you need to commit to being held accountable for the news stories that you share, for the information you share or you advocate for on social media. You need to make a commitment that you can and will be held accountable to what you share. Before I post anything on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, I take my time to be sure that should anybody go there, I can be held accountable for what I'm saying, what I'm sharing with you today. If you go out tomorrow and you play this back and you come at me to ask if I want to be held accountable, I will say yes. Hold me accountable for what I say to you here, because I chose to be held accountable. And that's what I'm telling you. You can also make efforts to be held accountable for the decisions and the news that you share on social media. Now, having said that, at the end of the day, it is up to you to decide whether you want to be a responsible individual or you want to be seen as one of those people. If you choose to be a responsible individual, you would verify whatever it is you want to share. You would caution those who are trying to share things that are not verifiable. And then you would also choose to be held accountable, knowing that because you have so much of power, you also need to commit yourself to accountability. Any man, even God, the Creator, holds himself accountable by his words. I mean, you hear say that he's raised his throne, his word above judgment. He's subject to his word. He tells you, remind me of what I have said. Come, let us reason together. Bring your case, bring your facts. In the law court, they tell you, bring your evidence, bring your case and lay it before the judge. The other person will bring his case. And then at the end of the day, there is a decision that is made based on evidence. If you must use the media, if you must use social media, get ready, be ready, and commit yourself to be held accountable. And the truth is this, one who is held accountable is one who is ready to be part of nation building. Thank you very much.